Hey everybody, welcome to the check-in. I'm Jared D. Sexton. I'm here with my friend Danielle Moody. Every Wednesday at noon, we check in our lunch hour and talk about life under ascendant fascism. Danielle, how are you?
Well, Jared.
I hope
So
you're having a holly jolly.
we're having a holly jolly. Hi, friends. How am I? I'm good. I am. December, as I've continued to say, is a tricky month. It is a tricky month. It is, on one hand, like I keep saying, you want to be reflective. It's the end of the year, and what have I accomplished? What you am I going to be looking forward to? And I just find, like, honestly, I wish that we worked on the calendar before the religious zealots took over the calendar. The new year shouldn't be in January. The new year is actually in spring, when things are renewed. We should be using this time as like deep hibernation. Like, we shouldn't have to do anything other than like read and rest and what have you, because like everything inside of my body, Jared, is like, I'm tired, and I'm more tired now than I think I was last year or the year before that. And look, I know, woman of a certain age, and what have you, but just like the beatdown of 2025, the emotional beatdown of 2025 has me just like, I really just wish that we could all rest. I think that it would serve us so much better if we could all just slow down with the season. It's dark earlier. We retire into our homes earlier. We cook, good food. We get to just like, I wish December was the month of restoring your nervous system. December and January, and then begin, to kind of slowly rev things up in February. And then by the time March comes and we're getting ready for the equinox, it's like, okay. Because it's like, I don't know about you, but everything inside of my body is like, I am tired. There is an exhaustion that I feel. And it's like, and I feel like I am dragging. But I mean, other than that, which is everything, that's how I'm feeling.
I love how you're trying to tell people that we should order time and society around natural things.
Imagine.
I find that, listen, I'll be honest, like where I'm at, I'm even hearing you say that, I'm like, you know what? The French revolutionaries had a great idea. Let's just reorder the entire calendar. Let's have like 15 days in a week. Screw it. Let's do it. Why not? Let's change all the months. Let's do all of it. Let's raise the statues and melt them down. Like that's where I'm at in this. It's funny, Danielle. I think about my family's main Christmas movie has always been Christmas Vacation, the National Lampoons.
Oh, National Lampoons. Okay.
Yeah, which is funny. It's actually probably the movie I've seen the most because I've seen it every year for since it came out, right? And there's a moment in it where Clark Griswold, the patriarch, loses his shit.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
just what the movie is. And it's funny because you watch it so often that you don't think about it. Like it's literally a movie about a mental breakdown, right? It's, oh, this thing happens and it tests them, this thing and this thing and this thing, and then there's the moment where it's just like he cannot control his sanity anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's where I'm at right now.
Mm.
I feel like because we have created this artificial structure of a year, right?
Yep.
We've decided that December is not just the end of the year, but we've decided that December is going to also, weirdly enough, be where like businesses are going to make their actual nut and
Yep.
profit here. And we're all going to have to figure out how to do all of these things and all of this pressure around it. On top of that, it's cold, it's dark.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And by the way, like you get used to that, Danielle. Like it's a little bit cold right now. It's going to be in the 70s in a couple of days. Like there's a heat wave coming through.
What?
Yeah, there's a massive, massive heat wave that's coming through next week. It's going to be one of the hottest December and Christmases that we've ever seen. So like all of this stuff is going on. On top of that, Danielle, the president of the United States of the fucking America, one of the most disgusting human beings that we have ever seen, who, by the way, keeps figuring out new ways to get worse.
Yeah. It's really extraordinary.
It's actually, if it's you almost have to look at it and be like, man, you almost have to take your hat off to him. Like, it's incredible the way he's figuring this stuff out. He's got a live address of the nation tonight.
I mean, I'm not watching it, but
Well, I'm
yes.
watching it. Well, do you know what it's about?
According to Bobblehead Barbie, which is what I refer to Caroline Levitt as, according to her, it's about all of their accomplishments. And now I'm not quite sure if it's the accomplishment of tanking the economy, the largest unemployment rate since COVID, double for Black people. Black people's unemployment rate is actually above 8%. The nation's unemployment rate is about 4.6, 4.7%, because of tariffs, AI, all of these things. So I'm like, and then you have immigration and like, I don't know what he's celebrating. I don't know what she said that it was going to be a celebration of their historic wins. So I don't know what uh Twilight Zone alternate universe gaslighting machine that they're going to try and suck us into after that glorious Vanity Fair spread, where his chief of staff just told the world that they're a bunch of fucking lunatics. He's an alcoholic mindset, and they're all just right wing nut jobs.
And you know what's weird about
Funny way to quit, but
it's
like what?
like that? It's almost like, and I don't know if certain people on this live stream can relate. It's almost like what it feels like in a family where you have to go spend Christmas with a bunch of people who are completely and utterly in their horse shit. And if you don't do it, there's a problem. And we have a guy who, the only thing he's ever wanted, Danielle, is the attention of everybody. It's the only
Yep.
thing he's wanted, and he got exactly what he wanted, and he fucking hates it.
Mm.
Hates it.
You think so?
Well, I mean, does he seem happy to you?
I mean, I don't think that he's ever been happy in his entire. Honestly, I think part of the problem is that he's never been happy in his entire life.
That's my point. So, what is it? It's literally we all have to show up, and it's like it's December. We're all exhausted. We just had one of the worst years in modern American history where everybody is under incredible duress. You go out on the street and you like if you see a random neighbor and you're like, "How are you doing?" They give you a look, and you both know it's because you're
Oh yeah.
I'm
Oh yeah.
right. Somebody says to you, it's like, "Hey, how you been?" You both know it's because Donald Trump is the president of the United States of America and the wealth class is taking over. Everybody is under incredible duress. And here
Yeah.
are you and I, what we're talking about, it's December 17th as we're recording this.
Mm-hmm.
We're just trying to make it through a tough time. And what the fuck is happening? They have to dab on us. He has to come out and lie to us and gaslight us. We don't even know. He might start a war tonight. Don't know.
No, I'm pretty sure. Like he
Maybe.
is.
Yeah, maybe tonight. Might be tomorrow. Who knows? On top of that, like we're not even going to talk about the elephant in the room. We're not going to talk about the thing that everybody's in denial about, that he is a serial sexual harasser and abuser. We're not going to go into any of that. We all have to sit around and be like, oh God, what is the asshole going to say today? And like, I'm tired. I'm fucking tired.
And that's why, look, folks, and this is why I say, Jared, like I'm opting out. Because there is nothing that Donald Trump is going to offer that one can't be surmised in somebody's clips,
Yep.
and read a rambling transcript that I'm certain mainstream corporate media will say and wash. But like, here's the thing, and I'll say this too with regard to the analogy that you made between going to family holiday. Right, that you don't necessarily want to go to and experience because whether it's abusive trauma, it doesn't make you feel good. You don't even have to explain it. If it doesn't make you feel good, right? Like you should then do what makes you feel good, right? Like, so my feeling is that like watching Donald Trump ramble on for what I'm certain he's not going to stick to anybody's script. He's not going to stick to any facts whatsoever. He's going to go into a rambling attack. I guarantee you, he's going to mention Rob Reiner and the horrific murder and his thoughts on that. I guarantee you, he's going to talk about right wing, left wing lunatics and Antifa and like how he's clamping down on all of that. Like it's going to be insane. You do not have to subject yourself to insanity. You don't, right? Like, these are the decisions that I wanted. Like, we don't have a lot of power, right, over the day to day operations of this regime, but we do have the power of our attention, right? And for a man that is a sociopathic narcissist who needs everyone's eyeballs on him, make the choice not to give them, right? Like, you are literally not going to miss anything that you're not going to be able to get on Threads, Blue Sky, Meta, whatever. It will be summarized for you. You do not have to sit there and subject yourself to whatever is going to be 2 hours of rambling, gaslight, horrific, cruel bullshit just days before the Christmas fucking holiday. You don't.
No.
Right? And just in the same way that I would say, if your family does not make you feel good, if you walk in there guarding your loins, clutching your pearls and feeling sick to your stomach, then guess what? Make the decision. I am not going to subject myself to this. I am going, like, let us start now thinking about what we can control and the kind of life that we want outside of the misery of the external misery that is on our shoulders and being pressed down on us. We can choose peace, right? Like, we can choose to live with as much peace and ease as we possibly can. And for me, that does not include allowing that motherfucker into my house, because energy matters.
Yeah.
And I like to keep a high vibration in my goddamn home.
Yeah, he's not welcome in my house. And
He ain't welcome in my house.
and I want to say on the note of what you're talking about when it comes to peace, sometimes we get to vent and sometimes we want to share strategies in here. One of the most useful things that got taught to me, Danielle, back when I was in academia, you have no idea how many fucking bullshit meetings I had to go to
I can only
where
imagine.
people lied right to your face. Just constant lies, 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 lies. And I learned something in therapy, which is to foster an internal place of peace, where you
Mm-hmm.
are sitting in a room, you are sitting in a place, and you are being lied to. That is dysfunctional. It is not healthy. You have to be in the room. You know what I mean? Like you don't have a choice at that point, which is to create in yourself, in your mind, a visual representation of where you are at peace and where you are safe. You get to pick a spot. You get to pick, for me, it's a cabin out in the woods, right? Which is
Mm.
nobody
Yeah.
can see me, where I try and go every chance that I possibly can. It's a spot out in the woods where I can breathe and I know that no one is around, right? And and if I'm in the room and these things are happening, at least in my mind, I can, like, if you are like sitting there and you are a terrible administrator and you are lying to me, or let's say that you are, I don't know, an incompetent, decomposing, fascistic president of the United States of America. I can look at you and I can and I'm not going to lose it. Like Chevy Chase in, Christmas Vacation. I'm not going to like lose it and break things. In my mind, I am in the cabin for as long as I need to be in the cabin, which is
Mm.
fostering an internal sense of safety. The other part of it, though, is you can't live your entire life like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be in one room after another that feels that way. You only have a finite amount of energy and capacity because otherwise you're going to freak out. You are going to lose your mind. You have to foster that internal sense of safety and calmness and then create it in the world.
Yep.
You have to externalize the internal thing that you're doing. And here's the thing, and I'm sure you felt like this. For people who know me know this, I don't like to fly. I drive.
I know. Which is
I
like, and
I,
you drive far and
I
alone.
drive far. And I'll tell you something about driving. It's not the first 12 hours of driving, it's the last couple of hours. You know what I mean? Where it's like you are weary and you are weary and you're tired. And that's the thing. Sometimes you have to keep going. Sometimes it's like, I have to drive another 2 hours in order to find shelter, and you have to get through it. It's not making yourself do that all the time because you can't live like that. It's the moments where you have to survive these things, but you don't have to subject yourself to the things that are going to constantly take away from who you are and how you see the world.
You don't. And I think that that is like at a time when we are all collectively feeling incredibly powerless. I think that what the both of us are saying is that there are ways to take back your power. There are ways to create peace. And I think that deciding who and what we want to be surrounded with is that central place. Like as a, I will, let me give this story as a quick aside. When I was 10 years old, my grandparents, um, I would spend the weekend, my sister and I would spend the weekend with our grandparents, right? Which I loved. As did my sister, all of our cousins, because our grandparents' house, I don't know, there's just, for me, I feel blessed to have had like wonderful grandparents who just always made you feel special and made you feel like their home was like magic. And on Sundays, they would go to church and they would, say that we all had to go to church. When I was 10 years old, um, I called my mother from I'm at my grandparents' house and I said, I don't want to go to church anymore. I'm like, it doesn't do anything for me. Like I don't connect. I'm not connecting, with the scripture. Like I don't want to do it. And my mom, because of her childhood, who had just was like inundated with like hyper Christian, focus, not from my grandparents, funny enough, but from her older sister, who she lived with for a bit while my grandparents were setting up home in the United States from Jamaica. She said to me, okay. She called my grandparents and said, Danielle doesn't want to go to church anymore. Like, don't make her. She's not doing it to hurt your feelings or anything. It's just, it's not her vibe. And my grandparents let it go. Right? But it was me as a young person deciding that this space that you're taking me to doesn't make me, it didn't mean that I wasn't still curious about religion because I was. I would go to different, churches and different spaces and places. And I was, still very curious. And I'm still very curious about different religions and spiritual practices. But it was recognizing this place doesn't feel good to me. So I don't want to be in this place. And I'm like, and I feel like if more of us were to say to ourselves, you know what? I know that it's part of the family tradition that we spend Thanksgiving at, you know, Bob's house and, and Christmas at this, but every time I leave, I feel like shit, right? Every time I'm headed there, I feel anxiety, right? Like as adults, we get to choose. Right. And I think that too many of us get caught up in the perception of that other people have of us, the obligation of the thing, but you are not obligated to make yourself feel like shit to serve other people's interests. And I don't care if those people are related by blood or fucking not. And so, again, I think that this entire sick regime is about consistently trying to force and pull people into this like fucking murderous, like cruel community that like I don't want to be a part of. So like, can I move out of the country right now? No. Do I want to leave those that I love behind and move out of the country right now? Not really. But do I have to continue to engage and subject myself to the range of bullshit that they put out? Absolutely fucking not.
Well, and that is the root, and you nailed it. It is the root cause of what's happening. Like there's so much to it. There are like the economic sort of incentives. The wealthy have historic, amounts of resources and power, and they have corrupted representative government. The cultural and psychological and emotional drivers are a group of people, and this is the wild thing, Danielle. It's a group of people that they can't let someone like what you said about Danielle doesn't want to do this on Sunday, right? Like what happened with your mom saying, "Well, you don't have to do it," and your grandparents being like, "Of course you don't have to do it." That's healthy. Like, that's the
Yeah.
way it should be. And by
Yeah.
the way, like, an incredible amount of bravery. I was in that situation as a kid where I didn't want to go to church, where because I didn't like the way that it felt. I struggled so much. It hurt. It created an existential crisis. And I didn't know if my needs as a child were going to be met.
Yeah.
I said
Yeah.
no, right? Which is where we learn to do those things. That's where we learn how to behave as adults, and we have to heal from that. And now, like, there are so many people who are like, I don't want to live like this anymore.
Yep.
I don't want, like I'm watching this man who is president of the United States of America. The emperor has no clothes. He is not competent. He is not capable. He's not even. Not only is he not capable and he's not competent. You could host a lottery and pick a random human being out of our
And
population.
they would be better.
They wouldn't just be better. They would be
Yep.
light years better, because even that person would probably be like, oh my God, I probably shouldn't be president. I will work hard at this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You could pick any person in the United States, and chances are they would be infinitely better at this job. You look at someone like Elon Musk, who I believe now has $600 billion. He's on his way to $1 trillion. He hasn't done anything.
Not at I keep saying this, Jared. Not at the name a Musk museum, a Musk library, a Musk fucking highway, a bridge. Not a fucking thing.
No, the only thing he does is he destroys things and then sells off their spare parts, and then takes credit for things other people have done. That's it. Like, he's an absolute charlatan. We look at this and we say, I don't want to live like this anymore. On top of that, you look at like studies that show what's happening with the climate, and you say, hey, this is fucking nuts. And like, you want to keep doing this stuff and you want to keep going down this road. This is nuts. All these things. And what are they doing? The reason why fascism starts to take over is because people start to realize their freedom to choose differently.
Yes.
That's it. One of the main drivers, everyone always says what happened with Nazism was, the economy fell apart. Yes, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was also gay and transgender people in Berlin. It was women getting jobs. It was people starting to express pluralism within Germany.
Yep.
It's people freaking out and saying, I'm going to gain as much power as I possibly can so that people don't feel like they're free to make choices. That's it. And it's about like being able to abuse children. It's about not having children told that they can be who they want to be, or
Right.
study what they want, or that they should respect other people, or that they should look at people from other countries and think, oh, we're part of the same thing. Like, it is about trying to not just reinstall the controls that you were just talking about, but thicken them and make them stronger so that people don't realize that they can make different choices. That's what it is. It's about reinstalling that voice and making it loud.
And that's what I think that's what I feel that we are being called to do, which is when the external becomes so loud, you have to go internal, go inside to find your quiet place and ask yourself those questions, which is, how do I want to live? What do I want to offer? Right? Like, this is the thing that makes this regime, Elon Musk, they're so disgusting,
Oh,
because I can't imagine having the power to help, literally to change the lives of millions, billions of people, and choosing to do the opposite. I cannot imagine having a mass, because as somebody said today on Threads, no one earns $1 billion. So you definitely know good goddamn well that piece of shit did not earn $600 billion. He stole $600 billion. He extracted $600 billion. He extorted $600 billion, right? What I think is happening now, as the noise has gotten so intense outside is that people are actually beginning to see and hear things for what they are and not for what these grifters and charlatans have told us that they are. We are a country that was so obsessed with wealth and celebrity that Donald Trump is who we chose to be the president of the United States. Do you think that if America hadn't been inundated with reality TV, celebrity culture, and all of this yard sticking that we do to measure ourselves against other people, that we would be one, a nation riddled with debt, and then two, right? Believing that these people, because of their excess, are somehow better than we are and are geniuses because they've been able to outmaneuver a system and contribute to the public good, that all of a sudden that's what we revel in, that's what we lift up,
Yep.
right? So for me, what I think is going to happen, what I truly believe is going to happen, and it doesn't mean that it's going to happen outside of the context of escalated violence and cruelty and all of these things, but I believe, Jared, that the paradigm is the pendulum, I should say, is swinging back far to the other side, where it's like, wait a minute. Why has there been an entire media structure and ecosystem designed for us to celebrate and award like these titles of excellence and geniuses to people that are the greediest, right? That are actually depraved, that are actually cruel. But because they have more material stuff, that an entire media ecosystem has told us that they are better than we are. And instead of us having like spiritual practice and connectivity and community, that we should worship at the altar of greed and excess. And I think that people now, particularly young people, are starting to look around, realizing, A, they don't have the pathways to wealth that prior generations did. So it's not even going to be a part of how they decide to move forward. But in recognizing, asking themselves, what is wealth? What does it truly look? Because these people, I mean, what was so gorgeous to me about the pictures in Vanity Fair, as so many people have already said, is that the artistic nature of it showed you the vileness, the cracks, the crumbling, the scarring, the tissue, the decay,
Yep.
right? Of these people, both inside and outside. And I think that it is a metaphor for our entire society and culture that is breaking down, cracking, falling apart, right? And because of it, we have to ask ourselves, if this is what wealth we were told to worship, if this is what this looks like,
You can have it.
you can have it.
You can have it.
You can have it. I don't want it.
Yep.
Right? Because I honestly would rather be full and whole in spirit if that is what it means to be full and wealthy in material.
And I just everything you just said, I couldn't agree with more. And I just want to bring all these threads together because you literally you look at this thing and you see where the incentives are. Like one thing that just happened in the past week that no one, well, we talk about, but it's not talked about enough. What Barry Weiss has done at CBS, had that horrific town hall with Kirk's widow, which nobody fucking watched.
Because
Nobody.
because why would you watch
What?
her fake cry for 90 minutes?
And by the way, why is Barry Weiss in charge of CBS News? Because no one does this thing better, which is to suck up to powerful people, tell them what they want to hear, and never ever betray. You and I and the people watching this, we can't do that. We've done it before. I've done it before. I've been in a meeting where I'm just like, oh my God, I'm in that place in my mind. And I'm just like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, I can't wait to talk to you next week. Yeah, I'll circle back around that. We'll talk about that. You're supposed to go in and look at Donald Trump and say, you look great, sir. Man, you look so healthy. Oh my God, what an incredible speech, sir. Oh my God, the best president. Like, with this administration is doing things that have never happened before. Bless you. You're
Thank you.
supposed to be like, oh, Elon Musk, like, so brilliant. You're looking great. Everything.
Not at all doped up. Not at all on fucking drugs.
No, I actually think Mar-a-Lago face looks wonderful. Like you guys, obviously, you're glowing. Like what's going on with you? And that's the thing, Danielle, is like I think where this is going, and to bring it around to what we've been talking about, while we are like creating like an internal space or trying to find joy, there is a certain point, and I'm sure that you have had it, and I've had it, and the people watching, there's a certain point where the cost of pretending and going along to get along, it
Too
betrays
much.
it outweighs the cost of the discomfort of telling the truth.
Yep.
Where and
Say it.
people call it crash out, whatever you want to call it. And I go back to the Christmas vacation. There's the moment some people are going to freak the fuck out, which by the way is why people look at Luigi Mangione and they're like, I get it. Right? That's
Yep.
why that's why people didn't think that was that big of a deal. Some people are going to crash out and they're going to say, where we are right now and the way we're being exploited, you know what? I get it. Violence. I get it.
Yep.
What are you going to do? And there's going to be some of us who are not going to crash out like that. We're not going to commit violence. But guess what? From the chaos that comes, we're going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take the remnants of what this thing is and we're going to build something better. Not everybody is going to handle this the same way. Some of us are going to be calm about it. Some of us are going to freak out. Some of us are going to be calm and freak out. We're all in different places in the way we're able to handle this. But I can't go in there and look at these people anymore. I can't be in a room with these people anymore and fucking pretend. I can't do it. I'm going to have a moment where somebody needs to say something and I'm going to have to fucking say it. That's where I'm at. And I'm sure everybody else feels like they're at that point as well.
100%. I mean, there's a reason, like, I joke, but there's a reason why I became an entrepreneur 5, and it will be 6 years ago in January. There's a reason, right? One, because I didn't wanna carry other people's water who I did not find alignment in my values with those people.
Can we talk about that very quickly?
Yeah,
Because I'm so glad you brought that up. You and I, and by the way, many other people,
yeah.
I left academia. I had a full professorship. I had guaranteed employment for the rest of my life. I couldn't fucking do it. And I don't know where my insurance is going to come 1 year from the next. I don't know where my paycheck's going to come 1 year from the next. But you make a bet on yourself because you can't do it.
You know, there it was a couple of weeks ago, right? You and I are doing our show. And, and I was having a very vulnerable moment where I said, I had just finished my book proposal. I don't know if it's ever going to be picked up, if it's going, and I'm feeling like a failure. I'm looking around at people who are similarly situated, who are much wealthier than I am. They have much bigger platforms, and you begin this yard sticking, right? This measuring of yourself against other people and what it is that they have. And I always have to, and thank God for therapy, but I always have to come back to what find gratitude in the life and the path that I have chosen, right? It is mine. There is no comparison to other people. Other people don't have the same upbringing. They didn't have the same, like we don't all have the same upgrading, same opportunity, same exposure, et cetera, et cetera. So the comparison, right, as they say, is the thief of joy. But there is a reason why you and I chose the path less taken, which is like the path less traveled, which is to work for yourself when it is unstable, right? Like, but then I look around right now as I'm like watching the unemployment rate rise, as I'm watching all of these people be laid off in middle level, quote unquote, white collar jobs that they thought they were safe in,
Yes.
right? That they thought that they did everything right. They checked all the boxes. They followed the corporate ladder. They said, yes, ma'am. No, no, sir. Did the right thing, kissed the right asses. And guess what?
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Nope.
right? And that number is just going to continue to rise. And so it will turn out, I truly believe, that those of us that did bet on ourselves are better situated to deal with the roller coaster of the economy and the tragedy that is about to strike so many people who have never had to figure out how to get health insurance, how to make money without the stability, how to invest in themselves, how to do how to do these things. We are now better situated and have 5, 6 plus years, 10 years of a head start.
And what has this system done? To go ahead and bring around to the Barry Weiss thing, Barry Weiss is going to be the crab in the bucket that's always going to get to the top. She's going to fail at CBS, and she will continue to fail upwards. In the same way, by the way, that Donald Trump
Yep.
has failed at everything that he's ever done, and he's failed right up to being president of the United States of America, right? They are the crabs that are going to get to the top of the bucket. The entirety of the American economy has always been based on a small group of people that hoard almost all of the resources, a middle class that was larger for a period of time because America was expanding. And now that America is declining, it's declining. And it used to be that you could climb into the middle class if you worked hard enough. If you
Yep.
went to the right schools, you did the thing. That went away. That
Yep.
went away. Now you need to have a family that was middle class or upper middle class, that it gives you sort of the supplemental thing. But here's the thing, Danielle, what you just brought up. It is winnowing down. There is no safety in it. That bucket is going to get worse and worse and worse. And if you are going to continue playing this role as if like going in and bullshitting and kissing ass is going to continue to save you, it's not. The way this economy is going, they are going to continue to destroy that. The only innovation that they have left is something that will absolutely annihilate the white collar part of America completely.
Yep.
So what are you doing? You're literally marching towards the edge of a cliff.
Yep.
And what we're talking about right now, that moment where you say, and I think, man, I've been thinking about this so much. There is just some shit I will not swallow. And at some point you have to say, there's some shit I will not swallow. And you have to say, no, I'm out. I'm out. I can't sit in this room and pretend. I can't shank my friends. I can't shank my coworkers. I can't shank people, even people I don't know. I will not be a part of that. And that isn't just what's happening in the white collar class at this point. It's what's happening in America. And
Yep.
you have to, at some point or another, say, no, the cost here is too great, and I will not do it. I won't
You
do it.
know, and I pray that we are getting to that collective crescendo, right? Where we are going to get to the place where the masses are going to say, I just can't do it anymore. I'm not going to do it anymore. Follow the people of, what is it, Bulgaria, that just fucking took down their government, right? Like, how many other smaller nations are mustering the strength to take down their fucking governments, right? That are not serving them, that haven't been serving them. I don't know what it will take, but I don't know if Netflix and streaming need to have a fucking blackout in order for like the American people to focus. Like I have no idea. Um, but the fact is that we are headed in that direction. And I think that all of us, right? Again, like I'm a person. I vacillate between feeling, confident and insecure, feeling, grateful and disappointed, having, been at a certain age, should have had all of these other achievements, blah, 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 just like everyone else does. At the end of the day, though, I try and ground in this place of gratitude of what it is that I do have, the lessons that I have learned, because what is coming is going to require a type of emotional and to some extent physical nimbleness that we as a nation have never had to do. That there have been pockets of people, Black people, Indigenous people, right? Queer people that have had to have the emotional nimbleness that sturdies themselves in the face of a society that continually wants to take them down, that has found inroads to success and pathways to economic stability in a society that wants to see them fail and that has actually built systems to aid in that failure, and then built structures to imprison them and criminalize them when in fact they do fail, right? Um, because they don't get the opportunity to fail up. But I think that there is this nimbleness of other folks, and I think that we are some of them, those that have had to figure out, if somebody isn't giving me a check every 2 weeks for this thing that I'm doing, then what do I do? And I need for people to really start to think about that. If you have a job right now, that you got to be reading the writing on the wall, because it's coming for way more waves of people. And you and I, we talked about this the other day. We're dependent on platforms we don't control. So it's not as if I'm saying like, oh, Jared and I will be great, right? Because we work for ourselves, because I'm like, Substack goes away, YouTube goes away, these supposed independent platforms go away. We're kind of fucked. We still have the ability to start over based on what it is that we have taught ourselves and what it is that we've been able to do. But there is an emotional nimbleness that is required right now that folks need to really harness and sharpen.
And by the way, I just want to drill down on something you said, because I think we are right at the heart of it. I want to talk about what whiteness is in the United States of America. And when post World War II, there was a period of time where it was like you could live in a country that was expanding, right? You were living in everybody could have a house, everybody could live the American dream. What was the price of doing that, Danielle? It was to stay in line and never ever talk about what was happening right out of the frame of those suburban houses, right? Which was what's over here. How
Yep.
are women being treated? How are people of color being treated? How are poor people being treated? Don't talk about that, right? It wasn't the most overt racism. There were moments of overt racism, right? There were moments of chummy racism and chummy sexism. Then over time, whenever that started to change and the pluralistic society started to open up and people said, hey, by the way, I think women should be able to have the same rights as men. I think that people of color should be treated the same. It became more overt and more overt and more overt and much more weaponized. But at the
Yep.
same time, you got to perform whiteness. If you still did what whiteness and capitalism expected out of you, you were still going to be able to live that life. And
Yep.
here we are. The party's over. Things
Party is
started,
over.
that expansion, it's done. America is contracting. And the whiteness isn't just living a white life now. Right now, whiteness is, hey, I noticed you're white. That's fantastic. I noticed that you've jumped through the right hoops. You need to wear this armband. You need to be okay with people being disappeared. You need to be okay with people being murdered. You need to be okay with war crimes and wars of aggression. You need to be okay with all of this. And what that is, Danielle, it goes back to what we were talking about, which is it used to be participation in it and not talking about it. Now it's participation and enthusiasm. You need to show
Yeah.
that not only are you willing to go into a room with Donald Trump and say, and not freak out and not look at him and be like, hey, is anyone else seeing this? He's asleep. He's asleep right now. He's making out with a dictator, a genocidal dictator in front of us. It's not only that, Danielle. That doesn't even get you in the door now. That non-freak out. Now you have to say, very good, sir. That's wonderful. The best president who's ever existed. That is what whiteness does. As it shrinks and shrinks and shrinks, it expects more of the lying. It expects more of the gleeful cruelty. That's basically the ritual that you have to go through in order to be safe now, in order to even have that house at this point.
And what do we say? That the safety is an illusion, because it's never going to be enough. They are
Now,
never going to be satiated. So you put on the armband, okay? Now they want you to put on the suit. Now they want you to be in the room. Now they want you to smile that you're in the room. Now they want you to laugh that you're in the room. Now they want gleefulness. Now they don't like that you stand up so straight. They want you to hunch over. Now they want you on your knees because you seem taller than Donald Trump. Now they want you on your back. Now they want, you know what I'm saying? It's never enough. So you have to decide for yourself where the fuck your ceiling is. Where's your limit?
Right.
How much are you willing to give for the illusion of safety, knowing that it's never going to be enough, right? Because once you're flat on your back, then they want you underground, right? Like, so it's this idea that at some point you have to realize I don't have anything. First, what did I start at the show? I'm fucking tired.
Tired.
I don't got anything more to give, right? I certainly am not going to expend the little energy that I have left, right, on this regime. I'm going to spend it having conversations like this. I'm going to spend it trying to wait because there are times, Jared, where I'm just like, I can't cover another headline. I can't cover another bad story. I can't do both the shooting at Brown and the shooting on Bondi Beach and like the despair in Venezuela and the fucking, oh, by the way, everyone, the entire air around India right now, fucking toxic. They had to cancel school for days, cancel outside work. It is at a severe level where anyone, you can chew the fucking air, right? And if you think that that air is just sitting like a dome on top of India and it isn't going to disperse everywhere else, then let me introduce you to this thing called science. Right? So, like, at some point, you just have to say, enough, enough, and enough people have to get to that enough place.
It literally is the exact same as living in a house. And you're in a house where someone's unwellness, the house just deteriorates and deteriorates and deteriorates. And if, it starts with like there's a hole, the hole doesn't get fixed. And you just sort of like walk by the hole and you stop seeing the hole, right? You don't think about the hole. Next thing you know, you're like, oh man, I think the ceiling might start caving in. And then the ceiling starts caving in. You're like, well, I guess I live in a house where the ceiling caves in. The floor caves in a little bit. You walk around that hole, right? Then all of a sudden you're living in a house where you're breathing in black mold. There are electrical fires that are happening. Are you going to keep not talking about it and die? Or are you eventually going to say, I have to get out of this house? I can't live in this house. You know why? Because I can live in this house and die, or I can not live in this house and maybe live.
Yeah.
And that's where we are. Because what you're talking about, the Indian thing, and on top of that with climate change, we're not even just talking about not being able to afford houses. We're not even talking about not being able to afford healthcare. We're talking about, and I always try when it comes to this, because Danielle, everybody wants to do the reaction to the headlines and everything. I want to talk on a real human basis.
Yep.
Humanity evolved to the point where we did because we got out of the elements. Because we figured out a way to create shelters to protect us from the weather. It's 2025 AD. And now we're talking about living in a world in which you can't escape the elements. We're not even talking about buying houses. We're not talking about any of this. We're talking about living in a world in which food. We just had 40 plus million Americans not know where their next meals were coming from. 40 plus, over 10% of the American population. And you just look at it and you're just like, I can't live in this house. I'm going to die in this house. And so you have to make different choices.
I'm like, that is where it begins. It honestly begins with each of us making different choices, right? Deciding that the way that things are right now do not have to continue, right? That the inevitability of our like demise under the control of cruel, depraved, grifting charlatans doesn't have to be the way, right? And like at some point, all of these things have to end. But it's like, how much more are you willing to take? How much more are you willing to take? Because again, people look and they say, oh, well, India, they should have taken better care of their environment. Hello, right? The country isn't filled with the billionaires that have been polluting to the point of no return, and the corporations to the point of no returns. But what do you think is going to happen to fucking America without regulation? That Donald Trump is deregulating at the speed that no other administration has ever had. The reason why we have, safe food and water to a certain extent, and that depends on where the fuck you are. Ask the people in Flint, ask the people in Jackson, ask the people around different parts of this country where there isn't clean water, right? Where roofless houses are the norm because that's the level of poverty, right? Like there are places like that. Liz just somebody in the chat, Liz just put up data centers. Right now, there are places that are starving from electricity.
Yep.
Not because there isn't a big enough grid, but because their politicians have decided to bring in unregulated data centers that are now putting a strain on the basic resources that people need.
Yep.
Electricity and water.
So they can put Donald Trump and Elon Musk into like Star Wars. Literally. So people can create their own movies and shows that are absolute horseshit. So people are going to go without electricity and water. That's it. That's the insanity of the choice that's being given to us.
And that's the insatiability, again, of the rich, right? They will continue to gobble up, take, extract until nothing is left, right? Because in all honesty, let's just be clear that the billionaire class sees the rest of us as worthless and expendable.
Yes.
Right? They're going to live forever in their sick, twisted, like, I don't even know what you call the theories that they are working with, Jared, but it's sick and it's twisted, right? Like about their view on the rest of humanity and like, people being asked, well, this AI race that you're in right now, if 20% of if it's possible that like there's a 20% chance it destroys the rest of humanity, are you going to continue? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Because who cares?
Patient. There's not even a thought about it. Yes.
So it's like when you understand the mindset of the nothing that is these people, to bring up the never-ending story, the nothing that just continues to consume and go over, and the blackness descends and everything decays and is scooped up. That's what's happening. That's what we've allowed to happen.
Yeah. And there's no reward for it. There's momentary comfort. Momentary. By the way, you brought up Flint, Michigan. For years, we heard about Flint, Michigan. It was like, oh my God, Flint, Michigan. Then you didn't really hear about it much anymore because it was just like, guess what? The people in Flint, Michigan. Guess what? The people in Gaza. The people in India. You name it. I know right now that's over there.
Yep.
Guess what? It's not going to be over there forever. It's not. It's coming for you. Because my guess is if you are on this stream, you are not a billionaire. You are not an oligarch.
No, you're not.
And if you are, fuck you. If you are watching this, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. But it is not. It is a thing where, Danielle, you see the train coming in the distance, and at some point the train is going to arrive at the station. That's it.
Yeah.
And you get to make choices about what you're going to do about that train.
And and that's that's again, to bring us back full circle to the beginning. We still have choices. We still have choices and we still have power. You can choose where you want to put your energy. You can choose what you want to give power to. You can choose what you want to expand and what you want to, right, contract. These are still choices that are available to us. Use them while they're still available. Because at some point there won't be. Right? Like the reality is that the data centers, the deregulation, everything is going to be poison.
Yep.
Our water,
Yep.
our food,
Yep.
our land,
Yep.
right? Everything is going to be poisonous. We're going to see, I remember, God, Jared, and I know we're running out of time, but like 10 years ago, I was in Detroit for the first time. There was a conference that was happening because the conference was happening in Detroit because they wanted to bring, conferences bring in money and they wanted to bring in resources. So one of the people that were actually from Detroit said, let me give you like a tour around the city. I had never seen an American city that looked like this in my life. I mean, it looked abandoned, right? Because it was abandoned. We have American cities that have been abandoned. And what folks don't understand is because you don't see it on the news every day, because you don't see, this is going to be the trend. It started in these areas like in Flint and in Detroit and Appalachia and all of these places. But what I witnessed there is going to expand.
And already has.
And already has, but we're not having those conversations.
Yes.
Right? Because what is going to happen when all of these white collar workers lose their jobs? They're talking about 20 million more people being unemployed in the next 3 to 5 years without any new job creation happening. So what do you think is going to happen to those that own homes, those that are in rental? Where are they going? Right? The homeless population is going to explode. Our inability to care for that, which means crime is going to explode, which means disease is going to explode. All of these things are going to happen. And it is right behind parable of the sower in real life. People who have will build up walls around them in hopes to protect them from the elements, and the element not just being the weather. And it won't be enough.
100%. And guess what? We don't have to do it.
It doesn't have to be this way. It's
Doesn't have
not inevitable.
It is not inevitable. I don't think it's going to be that way. I do think that we are going to win. But you have to see it for what it is in order to make those choices. Danielle, my friend, it's so good talking to you. Thank you for everyone tuning in. I think we're going to talk next week. I might come, I might come in from the wilderness and try and find you. We don't know.
Will you be in a truck stop with you?
Maybe. I don't know. Who fucking knows at this point? If I'm sitting upright and breathing, I'm going to be happy about it. I'll say that. And it'll be good to talk to you. We'll figure next week out.
Yes.
The schedule's got us on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the universe thinks we need it and thinks everybody else needs it too. I don't know.
It's not kind to the check-in this year. All right, everybody. I hope wherever you are that you are well and safe. And thank you so much, Danielle, my friend. Great talking with you.
Great talking with you. Be well.
Bye, everyone.